Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com.
Hi, this is Shash Anand of SOTI, and you're listening to the New Warehouse Podcast. Today's safety tip is integrated technologies with a cohesive mobile strategy can help reduce downtime, increase employee productivity, and device security, which helps T&L organizations adjust operations to fight major supply chain issues.
With e-commerce off the charts, many small and growing warehouses are asking, how can I get ahead when my warehouse is barely keeping up? The answer is future-ready warehouse tech from Zebra Technologies. Warehouses can simplify and upgrade all processes, from automated inventory management to hands-free picking, with Zebra's tailored, scalable mobile solutions. They're simple and intuitive. There's never been a better time to upgrade for success with Zebra. How can your warehouse get ahead? The answer's in black and white. Get the answers at zebra.com/theanswer. That's zebra.com/theanswer.
Outdated and bulky, legacy scanning technology continues to drain warehouse efficiency. To keep up, warehouse operators are turning to flexible hardware solutions, like WorkHero from Rufus Labs. Utilizing WorkHero's efficiency-boosting wearable scanning technology, mobile device management, and labor management tools, warehouse managers will be able to easily access key performance metrics and improve operations. With their cutting-edge monthly subscription model, you're always provided with the latest barcode scanning wearables, productivity analytics software, on-site redundancies, and 24/7 global support. Superhumanly simple. Make your warehouse team superhuman with WorkHero. Go to www.getrufus.com to learn more and schedule your free demo. That's www.getrufus.com.
Fulfillment demand continues to skyrocket and outpace available labor. To keep up, warehouse operators are turning to flexible fulfillment solutions like 6 River Systems. Utilizing 6 River Systems' award-winning combination of collaborative robots, artificial intelligence, and operational expertise will make your associates and wall-to-wall fulfillment workflow more efficient. No new infrastructure, no change to warehouse layout, easy to deploy and scale, easy to train and retain associates, all at half the cost of traditional automation. Want to take your fulfillment operation to the next level? Go to www.6river.com to learn more. That's www.6river.com to learn more. How do you create warehouse superheroes? The answer is simple. With visual voice scan solutions from ProCensus. With record demand and labor shortages, warehouses need more effective workers and lightning-fast onboarding. Visual voice scan solutions from ProCensus enable warehouse workers to achieve superhero performance with up to 20% improved productivity and up to 99% accuracy. Hands-free barcode scanners from ProGlove paired with wearable mobile computers is just the beginning. Improved mobile interfaces with reduced keystrokes, easy-to-read screens, custom keyboards, voice-enabled interface, and more can be realized with ease on the leading WMS platforms. Sound too good to be true? Let us show you with our one-of-a-kind virtual demo. Visit ProCensus.com to get started today. Again, that's ProCensus.com to get started.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast, bringing you a new episode today. On today's episode, I am going to be joined by Shash Anand. He is the VP of Product Strategy at SOTI, and he has been on the show previously. We talked about a few things, and he's going to come back, and we're going to talk a little bit about the T&L report that they came out with and kind of focus on some of the domino effects that people are experiencing because of COVID and some of these domino effects and how they relate to returns in our world, and also kind of just catch up and see, what are we kind of expecting to happen in supply chain in 2022 as we're kind of still coming out of this thing they call the pandemic, right? So, Shash, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Kevin. Thanks a lot for having me back. Great to be back.
Yeah, happy to have you back on. I love talking to you the first time, so it's good to get you back on here. So, if people are not familiar with SOTI and maybe they didn't listen to the last episode or they just haven't heard of SOTI, can you give us a little overview of what it is that you guys do?
Absolutely. So SOTI provides something called the SOTI One platform. It's a software solution kind of geared towards the IT administrator of a company. And what it is, it's an integrated suite of solutions that are really designed to reduce the cost, the complexities, and downtime related to business critical mobility. It's comprised of 7 products, and the SOTI One platform is really helping businesses remove things like functional silos that often exist. It helps eliminate downtime. It helps companies build applications faster. It helps manage all mobile and IoT devices in one place. And it provides operational intelligence and deliver actionable insights. And I just want to expand, Kevin, on one thing. So in terms of building apps faster, in one of your previous podcasts, you actually had a lady, and I apologize, I forgot her name, but she made books and characters like Supply Jane and FIFO.
Oh, that was our most recent episode. Yeah, Megan. Yeah.
Was it? Okay, yeah. So I was listening to that one, and I thought that was pretty cool. And it was to teach kids about supply chain. So I really like that one. But so what we did, the reason I bring that up is similarly, we've tried to introduce something called Blockly, which is really teaching young kids how to program. And so what we've done is we've used this concept to not obviously teach kids to use this, but to have people like you and I who are maybe not be developers, but we can build apps in literally a matter of minutes. And it's like a drag and drop type experience. It's like puzzle pieces that you can put together. So it makes it easy to build a mobile app. In one of your other podcasts, you actually had the CEO and founder of OHI. Is it pronounced OHI?
Yeah. I just talked to him the other day for a refresh. So
so he talked about instant commerce, and he mentioned like DoorDash and GoPuff and these. So I just wanted to mention, like, these are actually customers that leverage SOTI's technology to manage their mobile devices, and what they want to be able to do is they want to be able to upgrade all of their different technologies at scale. And what I mean at scale, it's not like, one or two. It's hundreds or thousands or millions of devices that they need to upgrade. And so they're leveraging SOTI's technology to kind of manage their technologies.
Very interesting.
Hopefully that gives you an idea.
Yeah, very interesting. And thank you for being a listener too. I love that. That's great.
Absolutely.
So the Blockly thing, that's pretty cool. I wasn't aware of that. So is that's something that's new since the last time we talked? I don't remember you mentioned.
So we've had something called SOTI Snap. It's one of our products. It helps build apps. What we were getting was, we were a company that was kind of focused on device management, and we said, let's we're being asked to build these apps, and they weren't crazy apps. What we noticed is that a lot of companies, especially in the T&L industry, they're still using a lot of paper and pen processes, and they were using clipboards. I have an example. For example, a concrete company that delivers concrete. They have a very short window of 2 hours to deliver their concrete. And during that time, they have to give updates to their customers about where the concrete is so that it gets poured on time and all these types of things. And they had this process where they would have to radio in. So the truck driver has to radio in, and if the customer wanted an update, it would go to the central office. The central office would call the driver. The driver would say, okay, I'm here, I'm at this location, I'm on my way, I'm 20 minutes away. And sometimes they wouldn't pick up the phone because they might have been in an accident or whatever. And so these real-time updates were not available. And they also wanted to track things like fuel, how much fuel they were consuming, and all these different things. And all of this was paper-based forms, which meant it was being documented, but it was being documented by the driver. It was taking a long time. And so we actually used SOTI Snap to help them build an app in literally a few minutes, because it was, look at your paper-based form and I can build you a mobile app. And it took a few minutes for us to go in and save them I think they said it was about 20 to 25 minutes a day in the truck driver having to fill in these updates.
Wow.
It was customer satisfaction because the customers sometimes were frustrated when they didn't get an update. Now they can actually get visibility into what's going on in real time with their concrete. They know exactly where it's at, so they can time everything else that needs to take place once that concrete is poured. So it was a really cool story where we're helping the operations of the company to really automate stuff. And now the drivers don't actually have to, it's like a one button thing, right? It's not a writing things down in this clipboard that, who knows where it goes, but sometimes it just goes into a binder, right? And sometimes somebody has to manually take that information and put it into a system, but it happens way later. It doesn't happen in real time. So we're giving them that real time visibility that they're looking for.
Yeah, it's incredible. I love that you made it so easy to create something like that, because I think like you kind of touched on there, it's just taking a form and like making it digital, and it's very simple thing to transition over. It's not like some complex app that needs to be built that's like doing all these different things, and like you mentioned, it when you're doing it on paper, it takes away that entire real-time effect, and that's like a huge thing, because you really don't know what's going on until sometimes maybe like a week later, maybe a month later. And then like if you're relying on somebody to input the data, well, maybe they're on vacation or something, and you don't really know what's going on at the time it's happening, and you may need to make decisions based on that data, and you may end up making them too late. And the time savings, 20 to 25 minutes, may seem like it's not that much, right? But if you look at 20 to 25 minutes extrapolated over all the drivers that they may have over a year, I mean, you're talking like thousands of dollars in labor. So
you're right.
So it's really awesome that you've done that. I'm curious, how has it kind of, because you said it was a different platform, now it's Blockly, and so how has that transitioned over, and how are you getting it like exposed to younger individuals to get them like
very good point. So with these mobile apps, it's kind of like, this is exactly the way the younger generation wants to learn, right? They want to learn on a mobile app. They don't want to learn by reading a manual or even reading a Word document. Even a Word document is kind of outdated for these guys, and spreadsheets are so if I can present that material in a mobile app format, and I can make it like easy, a nice kind of, with a hamburger menu, and make it look good. And those are things that a lot of companies are asking us for. It's very simple. I've got a Word document or even Excel spreadsheet. So maybe they've already digitized, but they want that information to be presented in a mobile app. That's something that somebody can go to, that you can get notifications from, and you can just fill it in with a button, and I can speed up the time of entering the data, and it's real time, and I get notified, and the customer can get notified, and everybody's getting visibility in real time. So, and not only that, right? They took their clipboards, or they took these Word documents, and they made them dynamic. Well, what do I mean by that? It is like YouTube videos, right? So I can implant a YouTube video into my app now, and I can teach people, hey, this is how you fill in this form. So it's reducing support calls and support headaches as well. I can record audio. I can get digital signature captures. I can share other videos. It doesn't have to be YouTube as an example, but these are just things that, so now you've created this interactive experience, which is exactly what people are looking for. So it's kind of changed the ballgame in terms of, okay, I'm no longer working on a Word document or a spreadsheet. I'm actually working in a mobile app, and it makes the younger workforce even feel like, hey, this is easy.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's great. I mean, I'm teaching a supply chain course right now at a college, and
that's right. I heard that.
When I'm telling them to like read from the book, I mean, it's an ebook, but it's still like they're kind of like, I could tell like they don't want to do that.
Even I would say, sorry, we're probably going a little bit off topic, but I would say that even our onboarding experience when we hire new staff, we went from this, a lot of when you're interviewing employees and staff, they ask a lot of questions, and you're emailing back and forth, and you could have a frequently asked questions document that you can share with them. But what we did was, even internally, we use our own Snap tool to build, like our HR team built an app. And this app is like when you interview with us, it's a whole experience now. You download this app, it gives you the frequently asked questions, it gives you videos of SOTI, it shows about our people and culture, it shows what our workplace is like. So they get a whole different experience than just an email back and answering your question. It is like, okay, we're going to give you everything. We're going to schedule your date and time. Here's a map of our place. You can put in map capabilities, all that kind of stuff. So it makes it a very nice interactive experience, and it changes the experience. And I think that's what customers are looking for, something new, something exciting.
Yeah, that's very cool. Because I mean, I think that even, with right now is a tough labor market, it's hard to get people in the door, and creating that better onboarding experience is just like a great start to their job with you. And it doesn't turn them off in any way. I mean, I know I've started jobs in my career, and I didn't even get my computer to work on, which was essential for the job for a week and a half after I started. So I was kind of why am I even here, right? And so I mean, having these different things and being more visible and being more interactive as well. I mean, I think it makes a great experience all around. I could see how they can get applied to operations in a lot of different ways. So very cool stuff.
Yeah,
I'm happy you shared that with me. So let's talk a little bit about this T&L report. Right?
Yes.
So T&L, for anyone that's wondering, it is transportation and logistics, right? So that section of the industry. So tell us a little bit about the T&L report. I mean, it seems like you guys are really not only focused on your core at helping the mobile management and things like that, but you're also really into the education with the apps you were just talking about, and now also kind of commissioning this T&L report. So what is it? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we essentially kind of commissioned a report where we wanted to understand what are the challenges that companies are facing in transportation and logistics. And it's cool because we do this on a regular basis, on an annual basis, and we want to understand what are the changes, especially with COVID. And so this permanent shift kind of to e-commerce is really, at the height of the pandemic, it placed an even greater demand on transportation logistics on the sector itself in 2021. And it was so much so that the demand on T&L companies really created this, what we call the domino effect, in delays for last mile deliveries and returns right into Q4 of this year. And so the report showed that 98% claimed that they deal with technical or system difficulties that delay shipments in a normal week. So we talked to the IT managers. That's kind of the focus. But what this did is it pushed T&L leaders to think a little bit outside the box and come up with new ways to work with retailers and keep the end consumer informed about what's going on from the moment that they place an order to when the product reaches their doorstep. So it's called the Mobilizing the Delivery Workforce State of Mobility in T&L in 2021. Long name, but it found that T&L companies, they're making huge tech investments in 2020 and 2021 to really fight these domino effects. But the increase, which was around 28% in 2020, it caused tremendous strains in operations. And most importantly, it actually caused a lot of strains in employee productivity. And so it's not the lack of technology, but it's rather the integration of technologies that is limiting productivity. It's creating siloed workflows, and it's causing T&L companies to lose valuable time when they're in the field. The report also mentions that 72% believe that their systems that they're using and the technologies that they're using are not integrated really well. And so we know that these post-pandemic supply chain complexities, they're not really going to fade away. So it's important that the T&L industry talk to the retailer parties to develop a collective point of view where the retail supply chain is headed. It's important that retail and T&L organizations, they need the right tools, they need the right systems so that they're integrated to help them communicate with each other seamlessly and in real time.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, it's super comprehensive report as well, but it's interesting. I think the first number you threw out there, 98% said that
98%,
they're experiencing delays in shipping because of technology issues on their end.
I mean, we know the insane, supply chain issue with the Suez Canal, and we know those areas. But there's other things that are happening. It's not. There's a lot of behind the scenes. The tech that they're using is slowing them down as well.
Yeah, and I think things like you brought up the Suez Canal. I mean, some of those things are out of our control as companies, right?
Exactly.
Like operations. But when you look at the technology, it's interesting to see, because I think a lot of people get hung up in investing in the technology, but then they don't realize that on the front end, you're experiencing delays. It's costing you more money because you haven't invested. And it goes along with what you said, that people are really starting to invest in that technology in like the past 2 years and going into 2022. So I think it's very interesting there. And, what do you think is happening? Because I believe the last time we talked, it was kind of the beginning of this year, right? And so, what do you think is happening like in this second half of the year, like with COVID and everything? Do you think that companies are still feeling the impact, or are they starting to come out of this? What is the situation there?
Yeah, actually, maybe the opposite. Like with the 2021 holiday shopping season kind of coming in, there's a surge in online shopping and demand on faster delivery, which is causing retailers to perform. They've got to do inventory checks. They got to be up to date on what's happening in their stores, in their retail stores. They have to know exactly what's going on. They have to figure out how to automate orders for their high demand stock items. They have to be able to track orders instantly. And going back to the report, 70% stated that kind of reducing downtime of mobile devices in the field is a top business concern for their business. And so what we're finding is, these technology decision makers, they're at a crossroad because the pace of innovation is changing, and it's growing so fast. And so to keep up, these T&L leaders, these transportation logistics leaders, they have to adopt what I would say intelligent mobile technology, which is designed for their specific industry, and it will help them accelerate innovation and their way to communicate with retailers. So it's not just it's not just about buying the shiny device, but you have to think a little bit about how well is that shiny device going to be integrated with my other components? Can I communicate the results of this technology with other people? Can it be upgraded? Can it be easily managed? Those are the things that you have to think about, other than just the functionality of what it provides. So if businesses can kind of combine mobile technology with an integrated business critical mobile strategy, this will kind of undoubtedly kind of allow them to see performance gains and help them future proof their operations. So I'd like to use a quick example.
Sure.
One example would be that I may use like a ticketing solution, and you may be familiar with a lot of ticketing solutions that are out there where you run into a problem, there's an issue that happens, and you track something, right? If it's not integrated with your device management solution and you use another solution to manage your mobile devices, well, they don't know anything about each other. So when an end user calls in and they're on their mobile device and they're using an app and there's a problem, it's completely disconnected. So I'm going to ask, as a help desk technician, I'm going to ask that user, I'm going to say, okay, what device are you on? What application are you using? What version are you on? Can I, how do I grab your log files? How do I see your screen? And how do I do all these things? So I have to go back and forth. And then my developer who might have built the app is somewhere else. And I've got to do this, it's like a broken telephone, right? It's going back and forth. So if these two solutions were integrated together, I don't have to ask any of those questions because a device management solution has all the information about that particular device, about that user. They know exactly what version's on the device, and they can actually upgrade that user. They can grab log files. They can do all that stuff. So having them integrated together is a key component that a lot of companies are not realizing today.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, I think it's a great point because, there is that time savings, and we go back to even just the example of getting away from paper, but when you're involving all these devices and all these different things, you need to manage them in a proper way, and I think that's a great point there. You need to integrate everything, and having to communicate, and some people that are using the devices are not so tech savvy, maybe on the IT front. So
you're right, Kevin.
Asking, what device are you using? And they say, I don't know, the one that you gave me, like
exactly.
Right? So
that's the answer.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing and then I've dealt with the same thing on my end. Many times where IT is asking, oh, what computer is it that you're on, because they're remote to the operation, and I got to show people. I'm like, well, you have to go into Windows, look in system information, and tell you the device name. And and people don't know that generally. That's not something like that's just common knowledge. So being able to easily see
try grabbing a log file from a mobile device, not so easy.
Yeah, I have no idea how to do that. So
Exactly. I mean, we always talk about how customers, we ask them what app they're using, they say it's the orange one.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's great that you guys are pushing this, and I think it just shows, everything that's happening, and with COVID and the pandemic. I mean, obviously the terrible thing that happened, but I think it also showed people that they need to be technologically advanced and invest in the innovations and be able to embrace those so that they can properly run their operation, whether they're on a crutch or not, because they have limitations based on things like a pandemic, right? So embracing those technologies is certainly a huge thing. You mentioned also in there with the domino effects a little bit about returns as well. So I want to touch on that a little bit, because you mentioned, the 2021 holiday shopping is underway. I mean, it's going to be huge from, what we're expecting. We're expecting much more because we've seen so many more peaks throughout the pandemic than just the typical seasonal peak, right? There's been unexpected peaks because everybody's moving towards e-commerce and everybody's embracing the convenience that provides, because they were forced to, in a sense, in some aspects at a period of time. So how do you think companies are kind of successfully managing the influx of returns? Because with an influx of online shopping comes the back end of the influx of returns as well.
We'll be back after a quick break.
You hear a lot about supply chains these days, because if the past couple years have taught us anything, it's that an efficient, well-managed supply chain is absolutely critical to keeping businesses successful and consumers happy. I'm Will Haywood, and I host a podcast called All Business, No Boundaries, where we talk about supply chains, how they work, what happens when they don't, and the innovations that are redefining what's possible in the world of logistics. Join me for insightful interviews with thought leaders and industry experts. We discuss how optimizing supply chains can break down the barriers that are holding businesses back. That's All Business, No Boundaries by DHL Supply Chain. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, you're right. And Kevin, the report kind of showed that 78% of T&L companies, they're actually exploring new ways to handle returns as the kind of retailers overcome purchase barriers. 73% of T&L companies are now actually trying to work with retailers to improve the return process. So, with returns, it's about, I guess, in some cases, it was around 10% of retail sales, and many e-commerce providers implemented like a try and return model. So this was cool because a lot of people were like, okay, if I know I can return it, I'll probably try it out. And so it really encouraged consumers to try cheap products sold online, return if they're not satisfied. And so this was good for things like, household items, clothes, consumer goods. But the returns process, I would say, is just as important as the retail sale itself. It's especially as retailers, they actually experienced, it wasn't 10%, it was a 41% increase in online returns last holiday season.
Wow.
So huge. But as we think about the holidays and beyond, companies should really have technology and apps top of mind, because it's really, there's going to be a surge, right, in online shopping. We know that it's not going to be a shocker. So how do we make the returns process easy? So some of the companies that we're working with, they're developing an app that's really easy to use. I don't have to wait in this crazy long line, but I can explain kind of some of the scenarios, but I would just say that even the return process reflects your brand's value. It has really little if it has little involvement, if the consumers can do it very easily, and it's maybe just a few clicks and you're done, that really increases your brand value. And then the other thing is just providing consumers with choice, right, on how to make returns. Can it be in store? Can I get a multiple carrier? Is there maybe a nice drop-off location that's close by? These are all kind of different methods to manage expectations and really prepare as much as possible.
Yeah, very interesting. And I think the 41% increase is insane.
It's insane. You're right. Yeah, I know. I have an experience with my own wife. She will buy 3 pairs of shoes for my kids, knowing full well she will have to return 2 of those pairs. So, but she does it, and if it's easier, I think more people will do these things.
Yeah, and I think it's you make it easier on the consumer side. You have to think about operationally to make it easier for yourself as well to intake that inventory back and then get it saleable again quickly, because you run into the issue where, especially if you're looking at clothing and things of that nature, like you run out of season pretty quickly, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
So you want to make sure you can make use of that inventory as much as possible. So I mean, embracing technology to be able to do those things, like you said, making apps that it's easier, not only for the consumer to return, but then also to get that data of what's coming back and when and where is also a huge thing as well. So very interesting stuff for the T&L report. I mean, it's incredibly comprehensive, and I'm happy that you guys put it out as a resource for the industry. But we're coming to the end of 2021 here. So why don't you like transport us into the future, the end of 2022? What do you think the next year looks like in terms of supply chain and heading into, are we coming into a close of all this dramatic things happening in the supply chain?
Yeah, so I think like your previous kind of podcast with Ohai said, there's going to be this huge surge in online shopping. There's going to be faster delivery times expected. It's not same, it's not 2 day, it's 1 day, it's same day, it's even same hour, and people will not even look at the product in many cases. They'll look at how fast it can come to me. So I think that's going to be huge. And what does that mean for a company? It's about technological investments. This supply chain, what do I expect? I see a lot of huge technological investments being made. There's going to be an investment made to control the supply chain and its communication with its partners, as well as backups for the unforeseen issues like the Suez Canal scenario. Yeah. I think that some retailers will even begin to see the return of their earlier investments, which allow them to kind of be able to predict and manage challenges and returns in last mile delivery. So we can kind of see this already, like a lot of companies, for example, they're trying to leverage RFID technology to say, I don't want to just scan, but maybe as I enter a truck, it already scans for me. So logistics are going to be kind of, how do I minimize the hand scanner versus just taking a box and having it go through the truck and having it automatically be detected of where it is at this point in time. So visibility and very quick ways to get visibility into your logistics will kind of be a big investment in many companies, because really a lot of consumers are looking for those real-time updates, as well as retailers are looking for these real-time updates of where their T&L kind of side of the business is happening. I think that an integrated mobility and IoT platform, so when I say IoT, I'm referring to Internet of Things. Right. I'm referring to not just the mobile devices, but let's think about other devices that are being used, other technologies that are being used to maybe detect, for example, temperature. Maybe things have to be cold; they have to be set at a certain temperature. So you'll leverage sensors. Maybe you're leveraging mobile printers to print you new receipts or barcodes. So mobile printers. These are all smart connected devices. They don't have a rich operating system underneath, but they also need management. So I think that if you have an integrated mobility and IoT platform, it can help you reduce your downtime of mobile devices and address that lack of employee productivity. I think that more and more employees will be given mobile devices as opposed to kind of doing things manually. And this gives the organization the ability to know exactly where people are, but also where their parcels are at any point in time. So, and when I mean mobile devices, this could be even a wearable. It could be a watch. It could be a glasses. I see that there's a lot of need for us to save seconds. So if I have to pull out a gun to scan a barcode versus just using my Google glasses or a RealWear or some type of where I can just look at the box and look at the scan, that's going to save me time. And that's seconds. And I think that's what companies are now looking at. They're not just saying, I want to invest in technology. They're saying, how do I take it from 5 seconds to 2 seconds to 1 second? So every little bit will matter. This kind of investment, it will minimize service interruptions. It will allow supply chain workers to gain insights into the devices on the platform and help manage them accordingly. I think customers are going to expect hybrid solutions for quick turnaround purchases that also adhere to things like social distancing requirements and those types of things as well.
Yeah, all very interesting points. And, I think it kind of just leads back to one thing is that, everybody needs to kind of embrace the innovation to keep up with the demand that's coming. And,
you're right.
I think it's a huge thing. And, I've talked to so many people on the podcast throughout the pandemic, and, it's kind of evident that this is like push people to accelerate their technology plan a lot, and I think that's just going to continue to go. So very interesting insights from you, Shash, and I love to talk to you. It's always very interesting and a great time. So I really appreciate you coming on this show. If people are interested in learning more about SOTI and finding out how they can build their own apps, how can they do that?
Yeah, so they can go to SOTI.net, SOTI.net, and there they'll find a whole kind of, we can get you started in building an app in a few minutes and get it on your mobile device, and away you go.
All right, great to hear. I'll put all that information on thenewwarehouse.com as well as the TNL report so people can reference it. So, Shash, thank you once again for your time on the show.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.